Hello, and welcome to the Run Amok Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Run Amok Podcast, home to the best Bachelor recaps on this side of Santa Monica. As always, I'm your host, David Stahl, and I'm joined alongside me, as always, by my loyal compadre, producer, Gary, and a surprise appearance, the return of our loyal compadre, Carson.
The return. This is a big day.
Full squad.
That's right.
We got the latest episode of Clayton's Bachelor. Fired Bachelor season. We almost had the perfect intro. We were that close. I had to add Coop in there. Threw me off a little bit, but we're back full squad. For those who might not know Coop, well, he's back. He's a dear friend of ours. What seasons? Give the people, what seasons have you done with us, Coop? Because you've been here for when this used to be a basketball podcast.
That's right. I took a hiatus during Michelle's season, but obviously we've been there for Paradise for the last few seasons. We've been there for Katie's season, for Matt Brown's season. We've been there for what are we doing? Matt Brown. Who's Matt Brown?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask.
Who is Matt Brown? Sounds like a real name.
Sounds like a real name. I don't think you or I know Matt Brown. I don't think there's a famous Matt Brown.
No, I don't think. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think there's a famous Matt Brown, but Matt James was there for that. I guess.
Yeah. Physically.
Who else? Am I missing anybody else?
No, I mean you're a veteran of the game.
I mean, I'm a veteran of the game. I know what I'm talking about.
And you're back, and we're happy to have the trio back together for this season for what we are dubbing a very promising season. We've said it before. People were low on Clayton, but this is going to be Drama City, baby. It's we're talking Drama City. I just had a fight with my new downstairs neighbors. I had a homeless man swindle me out of a $30 meal the other day. It's Drama City. I'm living in Drama City, so I am ready to recap.
You're gonna say a $30 bill.
Like he billed me
yeah.
for a squeegee? I don't know. Send me an invoice. All right. No, that's not the case. But we got to do a little bit of housekeeping before we get into what I dubbed last night. Maybe we can start with this before we even do some housekeeping. I'll say it quickly. Rate, review, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Tell a friend. That is how you put a tip in the tip jar for the Run Amok podcast. Thank you so much in advance. Now, before we dive into listener mail, I texted you guys last night because you guys both watched this morning.
Correct.
I told you that I thought this was the greatest episode of all time. Now, let me just, I was a little bit baked when I watched. Let's be honest. Let's just be perfectly transparent with the people. And the conflict was very electric to me. Then I went on Twitter after I texted you guys that. After the show, I was watching the College National Championship second half of the game, and I was scrolling through Bachelorette Twitter trying to gauge some reactions. Nobody seemed to agree with me.
Well, I'm going to read you.
People hated it.
I'm going to read you what David texted us. He goes, "Holy shit. All-time meltdown." He goes, actually, that's not even how he started. He goes, "Guys, ... I know you both haven't seen yet, but it might be the greatest episode of all time." Holy shit.
And I wasn't even talking about the franchise. I'm talking TV at large.
TV at large. Like, how do we respond to that?
But with
how did we
happiness
respond
and glee.
to that?
I guess. I'm pretty sure I said, "Damn,
excited.
Can't wait to watch."
Yeah, I said, "Damn, can't wait to watch." And I said, "Yeah, oh yeah." But let me say this. I still loved it. And what I do stand by is it was an all-time meltdown from Shanae. She gave us I think you guys forgot that she gave us the nay, which I've already said. I said off pod, I'll say it again. That's an act of racism. I don't care what you say. If I see that girl do the nay, dude, the women of color in the back are not laughing with you. Let me just say that. I know that I'm sorry, I'm still not great with names. I know the Olympian was comforting you. She didn't enjoy that. Let me just tell you that. And then it went so we've never seen a contestant completely deny the existence of a disability before. We will get into that dynamic with Elizabeth, but I stand by the fact that it was an all-time meltdown from Shanae.
Fair enough.
I'm with you.
Can
Fair
we
enough.
agree with that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll agree with that.
Now, Gary, I have to enlist your memory real quick because we're giving 2 shout outs this week, and it's to the 2 people who entered the Bachelor live stream last night. Again, we do a live stream every week during the show. Well, I guess not every week because unfortunately, hey, 0% your fault, Gary. You had a power outage. We went down. And then, we just wanted to watch the show after that. It was already, we're playing from behind and we just couldn't get back on. But Sarah Rose was already on. She gives us tons of feedback. She said, hey, what's up, guys? Right away, was ready to watch. And I saw her, she left a comment. She was a little confused. Where'd you guys go? Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Who is the other
Shawanda.
girl? Shawanda, yes. Thank you so much for tuning in because she is a loyal member of our stream team. And we were so happy to see both those people. Now we are going to be back next week. I promise you, watch with us. It's a ton of fun. Maybe we can get Coop in because it's a great hangout. And we just have a lot of fun. Throw in your feedback and we always read. Right now, we're reading every comment. We're going back and forth with every person who throws something in the chat, and we're enjoying it a lot. But guys, let's, without further ado, dive into what a lot of people are calling the greatest episode of television of all time. They go Band of Brothers, like season 2, episode 8, Peaky Blinders.
I got to stop you. The
I
fact
haven't
that
seen
you just
it,
said
dude. I
that
haven't
Band of
seen
Brothers
it,
has a
right?
second season is actually deplorable.
Is it deplorable, dude? Is it deplorable that I haven't seen Band of Brothers?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
That's a hill I'm willing to die on.
Yeah, tell us in the comment section below. I have a feeling our audience is going to be like,
well,
gives a shit. Yeah, but
obviously.
I don't know about the Bachelor Band of Brothers crossover. I feel like
we're far and few between. That's
the middle
sure.
of that Venn diagram is very skinny. But
you're looking at him.
let's dive in. We start off hot with a Hillary Duff group date. And I wrote down my first note. I didn't know her name, but I just said, hot take. The girl who starts off the date by saying, screw the kids is going for the villain edit. That ends up being Cassidy.
Yeah.
Ends up being the case. Not a great start to the date. First of all, I'm sure a lot of people struck with the fact that, like, oh, Hillary Duff is the biggest star this show's ever seen. Oh, what's the budget for this show now? Look, I love Hillary Duff. I love Hillary Duff. Shout out to, I think her name was Olivia Burke on Gossip Girl. She was on, but see, filmography goes far beyond Lizzie McGuire. She's a talented woman. I don't know. I wasn't very starstruck. Were you guys?
Well, it'd be different if this episode aired, I don't know, 15 years ago.
Yeah, when she was in her prime, yeah.
Like, then, you'd be paying a lot of money for her. Right now, you're doing her a favor.
I think
Probably.
moms are the biggest stars of our society. I actually think her stardom has risen since she's taken a back. No, I
guess
agree.
We'll disagree.
Yes. No, it was a little bit. And you can see, like, I don't know, the girls were kind of convincing themselves that it was a big deal. Like, oh my God, Hillary Duff, like
Duff,
big Duff fan, big Duff head, Duff buff. But I don't know. I will say, I think my biggest concern for the episode was Clayton on the bouncy castle. As many red flags as we saw, there's no way. I've been on many bouncy castles, and I'm sure you guys have too. Always littered with warnings every time you hop on one.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
There's no way that man,
no human, the sheer size of that man is just simply not compatible with any amusement attraction. It isn't.
There's a reason that when he got on it, everybody else got off.
Ran off.
Yeah, immediately. Like, get me off of this thing.
Get me the hell off of this thing. He's slipping. He's falling. Man, but I do look, I think this dude is going to be, he's looking for a family. He's going to be a great dad. He's going to be I could see him rocking a birthday party. But then really the date was defined by Cassidy. And I got to say, she's obviously the worst. She's obviously, well, maybe you guys disagree. I think she came in not really caring whether she got the villain edit or not. I think she just cared about, going far enough in the show that she could boost her status a bit.
She's looking for those hair vitamins. Her and Shanae.
She is looking for those hair vitamins, and we can get into when Shanae kind of emerges as a big figure. We can get into whether Shanae is looking for the villain editor. She might just be off her rocker. She might just be a nut.
I love that saying.
It is tough. It is tough to gauge. But Cassidy, like, I don't know, job well done. I guess she was the first girl's name that I actually really remembered. Yeah. What were your thoughts on her on that date?
I completely agree with that because I didn't necessarily peg her as like a villain right off the bat in that date. You know, like, yeah, she was ambitious. She was going after, you know, what she wanted to, you know, like pulling Clayton aside and having that steamy little makeout sesh by the pool and stuff like that.
Quite
like,
steamy.
2 times, I think, actually, over the course of that thing.
Yeah.
And I, at the time of watching it, I thought that the other girls were making kind of a bigger deal about all that than they should have been. Like, I thought that I wasn't necessarily siding with Cassidy, but I thought, oh, okay, I don't know if it's that bad. Like, she's there for the, you know, for him at the end of the day, not to.
How'd you feel about Genevieve and the cake, though?
Oh, well, I mean,
did you see that death stare at the cocktail party? Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Then it started to go kind of, you know, off the rails a little bit. And I think she started to embrace kind of the villain side when she started getting the negative feedback from everybody else.
Yeah, fair enough. Gary, what was your initial takeaway when you saw her? Because obviously we do see the evolution, and we can get into obviously the preview for next week, etc. But just this first date, were you kind of on the fence? Like, oh, am I going to kind of like this girl? Because she is, like, you know,
absolutely.
Maybe she, okay.
Not at any point. Like, even when like she pulled him aside, it didn't seem like, oh, I want to like get some time with Clayton. It was like, I need a hair vitamin sponsorship right fucking now, and I'm trying to get screen time. And even like the first makeout felt so forced. Like, it was. Yeah. It's almost a little like, it was not easy to watch, and I was never on her side.
It was very unattractive. Not that she's unattractive, but just the forcefulness.
Yeah. I hate to play this card, but like, if you flip the script there and it's a guy doing that, he's getting kicked off the show.
Well, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the time to bring up this, but I feel like it needs to be addressed. Perhaps you even addressed it last week. I'm unsure. What I've noticed from Clayton is a couple things, but one.
Oh, are you putting the lab coat on? Is the Kiss Doctor in session?
The Kiss Doctor is in session as they.
I was about to throw my stethoscope on.
Well, you know what? Pull it out. Go ahead. Put on your N95 and.
I have it on me. All right, you go ahead.
Why is there so much sound coming from that man's mouth? Like lip smacking.
I think that's a mic problem. That's more of a mic problem, though.
Is it a mic problem, or is he a loud kisser?
Okay, well, let me.
So Dr. Stalin on the case.
We're in the operating room. So I actually think that he's a decent kisser. We have that kiss with Serene later. I think as far as kisses go, and how's my audio, Gary? I'll slip this off in a second.
You're good.
Okay,
you're good.
Beautiful. As far as kisses go, because we're getting the zoom in. Not a lot of when I'm kissing my dank ass GF, I'm not mic'd up. I don't have 4D cameras zooming in on me. I'm just enjoying the moment.
I never said he was a poor kisser. I mean, we've seen poor kissers in the past. I don't think Clayton's one of them. Matt Brown. But I'm talking just sheer volume, and you know what? I'll even say sheer saliva, sheer amount of liquid going on there. I don't think we've ever seen that. And we didn't hear Matt James slapping lips like that. We didn't hear the sound coming from him. We didn't hear the sound coming from
I think it has something
Pete
to do
Weber
with
either.
The sheer size of him. He's just
I think
so
so
big.
too. I just think
man's just got a bigger mouth.
The sound just like
he's got a bigger mouth.
Yeah, he's just producing more sound.
I don't know. It was a reoccurring theme. That's all I'm gonna
say. Okay. And also we can that's why you get a second opinion sometimes. That's why you go to a couple different doctors. Maybe you gotta get
volume, right?
Volume's volume. It's the objective decibel level is higher than most. But I did like that kiss with Serene. What I didn't like, and I think this look can work sometimes as a lover of hoodies, as a lover of blazers. I think the hoodie under the blazer can work. It's either not that hoodie and blazer combo, the white hoodie with the checkered blazer. never had style. And that's okay, but you've never had style in your life, obviously. And this is the first time where you've like actually tried to buy clothes. That's okay.
Something I'm going to bring up later.
When you're a big boy like that, you have to know your limit and play within it. You have to know what your looks are. It's not it, dude. That's not it. Yep. You have I hated that look at the after party of the group date. Yeah. You guys out? Can we be
agreed?
Absolutely out.
Yeah. But then we do have later in that date, both Cassidy says this earlier, and then Teddy says it at the after party. They both say, "You're not like any guy I've ever dated." Now, typically that might not necessarily be a bad thing, but when girls are dropping out like flies before production and after and during production, that's not a great thing to hear, right? If you're Clayton and you just endured last week where one of the contestants says they hate you and the other one leaves before it starts, you probably don't love hearing like, oh, all the other guys I voluntarily picked, you don't remind me of them at all.
At all.
Anyway.
But Cassidy, despite that perhaps early red flag, she's the first recipient of the group rose and also the first recipient of the here for the wrong reasons distinction from the other girls, which is a heavy, proud badge to get.
It is.
Now, to me, those like confident lines, because you know what, she was at the cocktail party, or not the cocktail party, but also she does this at the cocktail party as well. But at the group date after party, she's saying like the very confident lines of I want to kiss you, and he goes, you're a good kisser. She goes, I know. I hate that. And to me, that's not me not liking, and I know you guys will understand this. This is not me not liking confident women. I exclusively like confident women. You are obnoxious. If a guy said that, it'd be obnoxious. Like, what were your, am I wrong?
Yeah, I agree. And even like the way he responded to that, there was something at the pool as well, she said. I can't remember what it was, but it was something kind of obnoxious like that as well. Yeah. Where like he doesn't really know what to say. He just kind of like awkwardly looks down and goes, pretty confident. I like that. You're like, what? No, like, what else do you say in that? Like, no, you don't. Like,
you hate it.
Yeah. So that kind of like seeing that reoccur and like reappear, kind of, I don't know.
Yeah. She also kept saying like, I like you. Like she kept being like, oh, I like you so much. I like you. I like you.
You don't know him.
We get it. You just met him. It's the first episode.
Yeah. So maybe ask some supplementary questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe ask like where he's from.
Going. Like it's so clearly she just keeps forcing the issue, and she's just.
Do you think if you were to ask her in that exact moment, where's Clayton from, could she tell you?
Oh, absolutely. Not a chance. She knows nothing about him, and he knows nothing about her.
What about a last name?
Nope.
That'd be a stretch.
I don't think so.
I think she probably called him Colton 4 or 5 times. I don't think she knows anything about him. I think she knows exactly as much as she wants to know about him, which is this dude's the Bachelor. I think that is exactly the amount that she came in wanting to know, and that's how much she'll know when she leaves next week. But is that all you guys had for the group date? You ready to dive into Susie's one-on-one?
Yes,
let's do it.
We do have the first, aka Susie, aka Hannah Brown's
younger
doppelganger.
Sister.
Younger
AKA
sister.
First cousin of Debbie Ryan.
Really? You think she looks like Debbie Ryan?
A little bit.
Now that you say that, a little bit, I can see it.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
a little bit.
And to me, it's like maybe if Debbie Ryan and Addison Rae had a child.
Yes, that's good.
And then also Hannah Brown had a cousin. Now, because we're getting into I forgot to mention this, because we're getting into a one-on-one, and I'm going to assume one of us is going to pick the person who had a very strong one-on-one at some point. Yeah. Let's bring up the fact that each season we do a draft. And so this is our little commercial break that's just literally for a segment later in the episode. A lot of fun. We draft either the Bachelor or Bachelorette contestants, and whoever's pick, if any of ours, makes it to the end, wins. Simple enough. Sometimes we do one person each. Sometimes we do 3. Sometimes we do 2, like this time. Now I do mean to keep bringing it up. I am bragging, but the people do have to know I have won 3 seasons in a row now. So Gary
just so the people know, though, just so the people know, like,
dude? Like that's
we're
the
not,
show.
like,
I know they're broken up. If that's what you're
Gary,
gonna say.
No. I was gonna say Gary and I are not like super far away. Like we're picking like runner-ups.
Of course.
We're in the
we're all
race.
close.
We're in the race.
Every time, there's never been a time that it hasn't come down to the finale with one of
correct.
us other two.
With one of us.
Every single time. Yes. So that should be known. Of course. And I'm rooting for you guys to go as far as possible because that only validates the podcast as a whole. However, that being said, you guys aren't rooting for me, and that's fine, but I'm picking last. But that means we're picking 2 people each. So I'll pick third and then fourth. And then whoever picks second will then pick again. Yeah. Whoever picked first will pick last in the second round. So we each pick 2 people. I have a feeling Susie is going to get selected because let's dive in to this date. My initial takeaway, she says like a lot. She says she like does. A lot. However, I did like the date. I thought it was very, very good. I enjoyed it a lot.
I like her too. She's
so do I.
Pretty solid candidate.
She seems great. Yeah. She seems great. I was a little bit worried when she was like, "Oh, I'm a little worried that he'll see my quirky and weird side," because sometimes that's just the worst person ever. It's not gendered. Dudes do that too. Of like, "Oh, I'm so different. I'm so crazy and weird." I watched
the way she when they're driving in that G-Wagon down the highway, or maybe it was a Bronco. I'm not sure what they were driving in because he was driving a Bronco earlier. But she's like I am really excited, but like honestly, like I got to be completely honest with you. And he's kind of like, "What?" He goes,
he's like, "Please, no."
Yeah, not another one. She just goes, "I am a little nervous," and he's like, "Oh, okay." Well, like, yeah, so am I a little bit. Thank God, yeah. The way she set it up,
that's the most normal thing you could have possibly said. Okay. Also, I think this is we're talking about the budget with Hillary Duff. I think the budget on this date was highlighted most. One of the most extravagant dates we've ever seen. Coop, you just said they're either driving in a Bronco or a what'd you say, Range Rover or something.
G-Wagon. Either way,
a G-Wagon, whatever. Yeah. However, then they go to the helicopter, and I don't think we've ever seen this. They land the helicopter on a yacht and then spend the rest of the day in a hot tub on the yacht. That's like if you're doing bingo of all the bachelor dates.
You're yelling out bingo, baby.
Bingo. What a date to kick off the season. It can only go downhill from here. But wow. Also, I love the shots. We do get shots back to Shanae and Cassidy talking about the date. Scheming. And it's very clear that Cassidy was really potentially only afraid of Susie getting that date. And it sounds as though they're gonna like do a Wile E. Coyote situation, try to drop an anvil on her head when she comes back to the house. Very diabolical scheming going on.
Yes.
What you guys think of that dynamic of like the main villain and like it's like Geppetto and Pinocchio?
It was like some Emperor Palpatine and Anakin stuff going on from Star Wars. Like I at first, like I can't remember who said it. I think it was maybe Cassidy said it to Shanae, and she was like, a one-on-one went out and she goes, "Oh, who got it?" She goes, "Who do you think got it?" And they're just on the same page, like, "Oh,
they've already discussed
like, oh, Susie got it." And then they're just like, oh, just conniving and just I just
love to hate
plotting.
Like, it's just so
you really do.
Good TV, man. Like
that's
good
what
TV.
I mean. That is what I mean. Like, and I saw people on Twitter being like, "Oh, these aren't even good villains because they're just bad people."
They're the best
it's
villains.
Reality
That's the
TV.
best thing.
Yeah.
Also, it's super early. We want a villain like Shanae early. Then get her out of here.
Rarely do we get like two of the same person like that. like they're just almost like identical type of people.
And it's perfect because all the people feuding all look the exact same. And I know, Lori Martin, I'm sorry. I know we've had blonde people reach out and say, "Hey, stop picking on blonde people. We don't all look alike." I know, but these ones do. The fact that, like, I think at some point, Shanae was just looking around and being like, "I got to get some blonde bitches out of here. I got to get some of these women that look exactly like me out of here." Elizabeth, sorry, collateral damage. Yeah. We look the same. It's you or me. So I think that was maybe a bit of a factor. We get a few interesting tidbits about Susie. I wrote them down. All I learned. She was voted class clown. She says she loves the beach and she loves water.
Ooh,
Okay,
well,
not that different, not that different. And she loves dancing. We didn't learn a ton, to be honest, but we did.
But she's not good at dancing, but likes it, enjoys it.
Yes. And Clayton, buddy, you're writing some hefty checks.
Yeah, we're gonna call you on your bluff there, buddy. Yeah, I'd like to see you get on the floor.
Yeah. Oh, like, look, I'm right. If he can dance, I'm sure it's like Kevin James, just an absolute spectacle of grace that a man that size can move like that.
Don't think he can.
But I doubt it. We'll see. Hopefully. But yeah, I do also love we get from Clayton. He goes, yeah, trust me, this isn't my regular Saturday. You'll never find me out a boat out on the water.
Unless it's on a lake.
Which is like, so it's not that
okay.
Like it's not that different. It's like, what? Dude?
You'll never see me helicoptering into my yacht.
Unless it's on a lake.
Unless it's on a lake. Like it's such a hilarious thing for like a obviously a pretty like suburban white dude to say, like, oh, this is so outside of my comfort zone. Normally there's land far in the distance around the body of water. This is just whoa. But we do get a deep conversation about Susie's dad and kind of how that put her kind of love life into perspective. What does concern me is Clayton's response. I do like him as the Bachelor. I don't know if this dude has any depth besides like the Matt James, thank you for telling me that, and then moving on. I know it's early. I don't really see that evolving, which is fine. We might just have a fun makeout season with a lot of drama, but I don't know. I didn't love that conversation, and it had nothing to do with Susie. I don't know if you guys had any thoughts on that.
Yeah, it seemed like she was not about to open up. She kind of did open up, and like it did kind of, maybe think back to Matt James, where it's just like, oh, there's just not much in return coming there, and it's kind of awkward to watch, and like you feel kind of bad. It's like this is the stuff the whole show is supposed to be built off of. Is like that's what you want in the show, is these opportunities to open up like that and get beyond like the surface level conversations. And when you don't really, I don't even give it the time of day for it, or just like awkwardly kind of like pass up on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is also like, to play devil's advocate, I totally agree with you. I'm on that side. I think it might, like, I'm optimistic because it is so early. Maybe those conversations would be a lot easier 3 episodes from now with someone like a Teddy, where it's like, okay, I actually kind of know you now. Let's dig in.
But if you're in like Susie's position, you don't know if you're going to get another one-on-one date. Like you're likely not in the grand scheme of things, unless it's like later on. So you got to use all the time you can get, right?
You got it. Yeah. She nailed it. She did. Absolutely. She absolutely nailed it.
She did what she needed to do.
And she'll be going super far. I think she'll be going super, super far. But we also do get the premiere, our first obscure Bachelor artist of the season. Do you guys jot down her name? You guys get it?
Jordan something. I forgot.
Amanda Jordan.
Amanda
something Jordan.
Yeah. And that's the last time you'll ever hear it. No offense to her. I saw some people really liking her on Twitter. Gonna be honest, didn't do much for me. Didn't do much.
Great voice. Well, I'll give her that.
The voice was nice. Yeah. Was she blonde?
Yep. Yes, she was.
Well, just based off the rest of the season, I have to assume she's blonde. I have to assume either that or they made her dye.
Put on a wig.
Yeah. Now, I had a brief few notes on Shanae and Cassidy. I do love the dynamic. I don't know if you guys noticed this. Cassidy's job title, executive recruiter. Shanae's recruiter. They really hit us with that.
Gary and I were talking about that just before you hopped on, and we said, like, do you think that affects the dynamic in the house?
Yeah.
Well, I'm an executive producer. I'm just or producer. Recruiter. Yeah, you wish. Recruiter. I'm just a regular recruiter. Like, how does that translate to anything?
Also, it's so funny. I bet people, like longtime listeners of the show, probably know that I'm always late to these calls because you guys always reference like me and Gary were talking before the show, and I've never been able to be like, yeah, me and Gary were talking before you hopped on, Coop, because that's never happened ever. But yeah, no, I thought that was a hilarious dynamic. It feels like Shanae has probably been sucked into 8 or 9 cults before in her life. She seems super.
That's where the recruiter distinction vulnerable comes from. That's like what
she's a professional recruitee. I recruited wherever the wind blows me. Really,
a real quick kind of a tangent, but how does when you're a recruiter? This is what Gary and I were trying to figure out. If you're a recruiter,
what are you recruiting?
Are you like hired on by companies to recruit for them, even though you have no expertise in that field?
Well, yeah, I assume you intern with, not like as someone who's kind of in media, I assume you intern with a PR firm, and then you probably work up with a client list, and then they probably either recruit clients for PR agents, or they recruit new employees for workplaces.
So it's specific to a field then. It's not just you're a broad recruiter for all fields and you get contracted out.
No, I assume she works for a firm, but
sure.
Knowing her, I have literally no idea. That could be a fully made up job title. She might be a camp counselor at like
Camp Kimo Key.
Yeah, or like they tell her she's a camp counselor, but she's actually like on Shutter Island sort of deal. You know what I mean? Like she's a nut bar. She's fucking crazy. I don't know what she does for a living. But let's jump into the group date with Z-Way. I love. See, that's pretty funny, Coop. But
that's a good reference. Yeah,
I love Z-Way. I remember on this podcast at the very start of the pandemic, I was giving a shout out to Z-Way kind of before she blew up. Yeah, dude. No, I was saying. Do you remember this, Gary?
Yeah, I don't.
I was saying for people to watch her like before she had a show on Showtime, before she had anything. She was just doing these Instagram lives, and now she's blown up. But
is this back when we were doing the pod in person?
Trump impressions,
no,
right?
Right after.
Kind of like political,
I think
commentary kind of thing.
She makes white people uncomfortable professionally, which is hilarious to watch as a white person not important enough to get on the hot seat. So right now she's funny. In like a year and a half, I might think differently if I'm in the opposite to her on an interview chair. But no, she's awesome. And we also get hit with I think a quote of the episode, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. I have a couple of those written down from Shanae. She, I don't even want to call her Shanae because it's so cringy, but I just,
maybe don't do that.
I can't help it. That's just what she is to me. But Elizabeth sits right down next to Clayton. Keep on calling him Colton.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to say Colton.
I know the names are not great right now. My brain is dwindling away. But she sits down next to him, and Shanae goes, she's just shamelessly flirting with him. It's kind of pathetic. The whole show. That's it. That's the show. That's what you're supposed to do. What are you talking about? Like, it's just very clear off the bat that she is unraveling, and that is evidenced by her. Was her? Let's be honest. Was the Nene? Because Z-Way asked, and you could tell Z-Way wanted this so bad.
Yeah, for sure.
She goes,
for other reasons.
Shanae, can you Nene? And she thought, oh, this girl's just going to fold back into her shell. There's no way she's crazy enough to do this on TV. And she goes, I think so. I thought, no, you don't.
If you say you think so, then
if you don't know so, if that is not your go-to move since like the 10th grade, don't touch that move with a 10-foot pole. You are not.
I was going to say, if that's not a move that you pull out and you are known for amongst your friend group, you should not even go near it, especially on television.
Especially on television, especially in front of Z-Way. She will just eat it up, and that she didn't even have to. And then we have people praising her in the background. It was perhaps the most embarrassed I've ever felt on behalf of someone else in the history of this show. It was just atrocious. Here's a question though. Who annoys you more? Because we'll get into the whole ADHD thing in a second here. Who annoys you more? Cassidy or Shanae? Who is worse to watch to you?
Shanae, when she's in a confrontation is worse, I think, because she's just unbearable and the things she says. But just in the day-to-day kind of little things that she does, like Cassidy just seems like kind of more annoying. I don't really know how to put it to words. Like just like her very basic conversations she has, or her facial expressions and stuff like that, or her confessionals are just a little bit more blood boiling than
everything with Cassidy too is more like outward, right? Like she's like more outspoken, and whereas like Shanae is just like she kind of like brings it all in, and then just like we saw it this episode. She erupted.
Yeah, I think it's like, for me at least, I think Cassidy to me has an overarching goal. to her villainy. She came in with, okay, and you even see her coaching Shanae, where it's like, no, you want to let that beef die, man. I think maybe it's the philosophy, like, then you bring up another conflict, or you just weasel your way through as far as possible, but you don't want to be the fixation of a beef this early on. And you can kind of see Cassidy tries her best to squash that big beef right away, because she knows the show. She's more calculated, which I think to me is more palatable, because it's like, oh my gosh, it's the snake in the grass. I could watch that for a couple of weeks. Probably going to end next week, but I could theoretically. Shanae, I think it's like a Victoria. Don't even remember her name. I don't want to call her Queen Victoria, but you know who I'm talking about.
Larson.
Victoria Larson from Matt Brown, aka Matt James's season, aka James Brown's season. And
that's what it was.
Like that,
maybe, that's where it came from.
And but that to me is just like, oh, you are so obnoxious that gets old so quickly. But speaking of obnoxiousness, let's dive in, because Elizabeth, I did feel bad for her, because it seemed like she was just a relatively normal girl who got dragged into this, tried to squash it multiple times, and just found herself face to face with an absolutely bonkers person, because she just starts getting gaslighted immediately by Shanae, being like, no, you told me you loved me and that I was right in the other room. You know that this whole thing, like, you're on TV, right? Like, then you know that they're recording and that obviously never happened. That she just said, sorry, you're hurt, and then sent her back into the room. Yeah. Like, I felt so, yes, I didn't love Elizabeth's never have I ever game with Clayton. It's a little cringy. I didn't love the forced kiss. I don't love her and Clayton together, but still, I felt very bad for her. Then she obviously says, I don't even know, like, obviously she does have ADHD. Maybe, like, I'm sure that is the symptom of it. I think it was also just a thing of like, look, it's not a big deal. Let's let it go. Look, I wasn't paying attention to you or whatever. I wasn't.
Well, you're just making a big deal out of absolutely nothing.
Just let it go.
Just to make a deal out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And she could not let it go. Yeah. And so she brings it up to Clayton. Shanae basically says Elizabeth was super rude and mean. She's a toxic person out of nowhere.
I know.
The tough part is, I think this is going to be all season long. Clayton's going to have no idea what's going on. And we're just coming off a season with Michelle where she knew everything that was going on. She saw Martin's bullshit coming. She saw Jamie's BS. She saw Ryan on night one. She sort of was able to project what was going to happen with all these guys and cut them loose before it happened. Clayton, no idea what's going on. Do you guys think this is going to be a theme?
Oh,
that he's just going to believe?
I mean,
we saw it already.
Look at him
believing everything that happened. Yeah, also look at him. Like, he's huge. He's a buffoon.
Does that man seem like a detective? Does it seem like that man would be wearing a trench coat with an eyeglass?
He's a doofus. Like, come on. Like, nice guy.
Dude,
that guy's
so funny that you said that. Do you want to read my note? It says, is Clayton going to be a complete doofus all season? He's a doofus, man. I love him, but that's what you are.
It's what you are. That's fine, but like, you're not going to be the one investigating all the little nuances going on in the house. You're just not.
That's what I was going to say, though. Like, it is tough when you're not privy to all the information and all the confessionals. I understand that. However,
read the room
a little bit. Like this girl just nay-nayed, man. Like, is that not enough to be like, maybe her judgment isn't that airtight? But it is awesome that Sarah, because we're thinking the whole time, who's going to get the rose? Is it going to be Shanae? Is it going to be Elizabeth? Who's going to get it? And then it goes to Sarah, who was kind of completely out of my purview. Wasn't really paying attention to Sarah. Yeah. But it's awesome that she got it. Seems like a great girl. I kind of forget what she opened up to Clayton about. I think they just had a great conversation and then smooched a little bit, probably.
I think so.
Whatever. That's all it takes. But then we go real down the rabbit hole, and Shanae can just not let the ADHD thing go. She just latches onto it. It was one of the most, I don't know, to me, it was one of the most insane meltdowns ever. I said that before the episode. Do you agree?
It was, and it's like, so she started to, like, I don't know, reignite this conversation a day later. and saying like we left on the same page. Elizabeth's like, no, like that was the whole thing. Like we weren't on the same page.
Yeah.
And it's like the only thing that Shanae could grasp onto, like the only thing that she could like have against her, if you can use like one's mental health against someone, was this ADHD thing, and like just kept like harping on that over and over again, and pulled out some of the most like wacky arguments. David and I were, like, and Gary too, were laughing about this before we got on. Like first she said, "Oh, little kids have that," and then she goes, "I have ADHD." Like, okay, what is it?
When she said it, it was so bizarre that I was like, "Wait, does she actually have ADHD?" But then I realized, like, no, you actually don't actually know what it is.
You don't even know what it is. Yeah.
I truly think she had no idea that she might. I don't know, man, because I do like to look down these people's Instagrams later. I didn't check today, but last night, no apology, no statement, just turned off her comments on everything.
Yeah, I saw that.
And that was the play, I suppose. But yeah, we do see the contrast. I mean, Cassidy is so much more calculated. It's like Shanae is the minion, Cassidy is the final boss. It's a very, very fun dynamic, but man, I found it very, in a good way, tense into the rose ceremony. Like it felt like the stakes were high. Were you guys into it? Like, again, given I was a little bit under the influence, so I was a little more tense than usual, but I like in analyzing every interaction, but I don't know, it felt like, oh my God, second episode. And it kind of feels like things already matter. That felt good to me. I don't know what your thoughts were.
Yeah, and I think that kind of helped. Like we were saying, Gary and I gave it a 9 out of 10 episode. Like it had a little bit of everything throughout the entire episode, and that played a huge role into it because it felt like it actually mattered this early on in the season.
Yeah. Totally. And like, yeah, again, maybe I overreacted. One of the greatest of all time. But you know what? For me,
I don't even know if you said one of.
I said it could be the greatest.
Might be the greatest.
Might be the greatest. You're emphasizing the word. I love this is how we communicate. You go, see, you said it might be the greatest of all time. And I'm saying, no, I said it might be the greatest of all time. But I do stand by it, especially relative to the second episode. We said it last week. The first episode normally is a snooze fest.
Yeah,
certainly wasn't that. Second episode, normally tough to differentiate. Sometimes we have really annoying villain origin stories. This one felt captivating enough, at least. But to go into the rest of the cocktail party, like we do see Shanae just completely unravel. I don't know if there's even more to cover on that. She just is an absolute nut bar. I don't even think she can be playing a character. I think, I think it just came from a place of insecurity. And you know what I do think? I think she was very worried. I think where the anger came from Elizabeth is she realized that, I completely lied about Elizabeth being the bad guy. I thought Elizabeth was going to go along with it. No, she's trying to out me as a liar. Nobody gets more mad than a liar who's about to get caught. I've always said that. And
absolutely,
that's exactly, I think, what we saw. But were there any, because there were some sweet moments, man. I really liked that Clayton was like, okay, these girls who didn't get any time on dates, they are getting time at the start. He carved out that time for them, which was really special.
I did like that.
And Eliza really took advantage. Very pretty young woman. She made the little scrapbook. I almost said the Facebook because I'm 80 years old. Nope, she made a scrapbook and said, this will be our first entry. And I thought it was very, very sweet. We saw a couple other people come in, didn't make a huge impact, but I like the rest of the rose ceremony. Obviously, at the end, we do see the clip, though, of I forget who the girl's name is. Maybe I'll pull her up now because she has had Sierra. She has had kind of a big role on the season thus far. She says, well, Cassidy was talking to me about, and I think it should be noted, we don't see Cassidy's face during this part. Now, the audio, I think, is her, but it could just be her in a room, right? Because we don't see her face until she goes, oh, hey, girl. But she does say that she's got someone back home that she's waiting on, or that's waiting on her, blah, 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 blah. Now, I saw some people online saying, look, that's not the craziest thing ever, though. Because, look, there are people that before I was in a relationship there would be people, I was single for a long time, and there would be people that, you know, move away for out of your life for a couple of years. Then when they move back, they're back in your life. You know what I mean? Like there is sort of a cycle when you're single of people coming in and out. That's not the worst thing. And it's like, are you going to cut ties with everybody before you go on the show? Not necessarily. I think the bad part is her bragging about it on the show.
Yeah, I absolutely. I don't think that was, you know, in and of itself was the issue. I think it was more so broadcasting it like that. And I don't know, like, why would you be saying on the show to other contestants, like, oh yeah, we just FaceTimed, and like when we get back to get, like, pretty much when I get eliminated from the show, like we're gonna watch the show together. Like, it, you know, it just very much seems like, oh, you're excited to see yourself on TV kind of thing.
Yeah, and I do feel bad for Clayton because Sierra gives him that news. He seems heartbroken. She does nothing to comfort him. I know she was nervous, but she drops the news, and then he goes, and she goes, like, no, doesn't put her arm around him. She just goes, yeah, that's the case. No, I swear, she doesn't really like you at all.
Like, goes, no, I get it.
Like, yeah, maybe pat me on the back.
The back at least.
At least. Maybe like even like a little like condescending head tap. Make some human contact with me. I just got bamboozled for the 4th time in 2 days. Like I need someone to be there for me. But he goes, okay, can I get some space to think about this? Then in the preview, this is maybe the most electric thing I've ever seen in my life. He goes up to Jesse Palmer. I don't know. They may have filmed this 8 times because it felt very rehearsed. Has anyone ever taken a rose back before? And Jesse Palmer goes, like, record scratch.
Scooby Doo. Yeah,
yep, that's me hosting The Bachelor. You're probably wondering how I got here. But this is what I love about Jesse Palmer, man. I don't know. We talked about last week. We are all in on Jesse Palmer. I think, like, make him the host permanently. I'm going to
touch on that in a little bit. Actually, probably like
okay.
5 minutes. Yeah,
I love it. Okay, that's perfect. I know what you're gonna say. He got one of our roses last week, so if that's what you're putting, like, give some shine to him. But apparently, people were saying, I didn't catch the earlier season, but people on Twitter were saying, like, that's what Chris Harrison used to be. He used to have those moments of like, oh my god, oh wow, this is nuts. And then, you know, he got used to the role. He'd seen everything. It would just be all like he would have just calmly been like, okay, well, let's talk about it. There are some consequences, blah, 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 blah. Like he would have just gone through the motions. Just
not look flabbergasted.
Are we even able to do that? You know what? This is your journey.
Around the producers.
Go for it. Yeah. You follow your heart, Clayton, and you follow your heart, nephew, and just take him on his merry way. But I think, and just one last thing on the preview. We also get an all-time line from Cassidy saying, "What's he gonna do? Take my rose?"
Are you the most phony, cartoonish sounding voice too? What's he gonna do?
What the heck is that useless old brute gonna do? Take my rose? I already have one. Well, hold on tight, sweetheart. But I don't know if you guys had anything else to touch on. We do have a draft, roses and thorns to get to, but any other takeaways from the episode that we may have skipped over?
I don't think so. Not for me.
Let's do these roses and thorns.
Oh, good. Okay.
Let's do it.
You know, the tough part is we're getting a to be continued and then a week break, man.
I know.
I hope we're remembering. I think we got some NFL playoffs, which I love, but come on, ABC. I know that's fix.
Tough.
Come on, it's tough. But we'll remember. Maybe we got to do a recap of this recap next week just to keep everyone fresh. But before we get to our roses and thorns, that's our highlight and our low light, the thing we want to keep and show some love to, and the thing we want to snip away. Let's get into the draft, fellas. So I've got last. Who is going first? Who is picking first here?
Carson. We determined it of a flip of a coin before you got. We got a lot done before you got on the podcast.
Yeah, we did a lot.
Dude, I had to fight with my neighbors downstairs. Let me just give some. So I came home. It's like minus 20 in Toronto right now. The pipes are frozen. I come home. They were frozen this morning. I go to the kitchen to wash my breakfast dish. Turn them on. Pipes are working. I'm happy. Neighbors banging on the door. They own a clothing store right below us. And they go, the water's flooding through our ceiling. Oh, what are you doing in there? I said, oh, no one's using water in here. Straight up lied to them. So that was my adventure before the show. I would argue I got a lot done. But okay, you guys got a coin toss done. Congrats. Coop, who are you picking first overall? I bet I could guess it, but I don't know. It's tough. I don't think there's an obvious.
I have it between 3 people right now.
Dude, I think I have an incredible third pick.
I have been swayed when we were talking.
You know what I think would be smart? And I don't even remember who the 3 women were on that. But like, so I'm not going off that at all. But it would be smart, I think, to avoid those 3.
Yeah.
Like, because the 3 that we see in the preview that he's like, I told you all, I love you.
Oh, yes.
Maybe not
honestly,
avoid those
I don't even
3,
remember.
But
I don't remember who they were.
I don't know at all.
No, don't take that as a reason to pick those.
Exactly.
Yes,
yeah.
For sure.
I wouldn't say that they necessarily rules them out altogether.
For sure.
But it definitely doesn't lock them in.
Okay, for my first pick, I think this is a safe bet just because we've seen the most of her so far.
Cassidy.
What else do I have in the base? In a nice light, we've seen the most of this person. I'll lock in Susie for the first pick for myself.
I like that. I like that a lot. It's a strong pick. I bet I can guess who Gary's going, which is unfortunate for me. Know. You want to just lock in Teddy Bear?
Teddy Bear.
Yeah, Teddy Bear. Okay.
Teddy was on my list.
Yeah. This is tough. This is who I wanted, though. This is who I wanted. I don't know how I feel about their connection, but she got the kiss. I want to make sure I say her name right, too. I'm going to go with, is that what her name is? Yes, Serene. She's the elementary school teacher.
That's who Carson wanted.
That was the other person I was thinking about.
I like her
Good
a
pick.
lot.
Good pick. That's a really good pick.
And I'm going back to back, right?
Yeah, you are.
Oh, this is really, really tough.
I'm not going to have anybody. I'm not going to know anybody's names now.
I think I know who I'm going. It's a little bit of a spicier take, but I like having one wild card because I feel good about Serene. So I'm going to go with, I like your energy. I think Clayton will like how enthusiastic she is. I think Clayton kind of has the mindset for a younger woman. That's not a bad thing necessarily. I think he just has that same youthful exuberance. I'm going Eliza from the yearbook, or not the scrapbook. I've called it Facebook and a yearbook. My brain is fried. But I'm going Eliza just because she's one of the few that I know is still in the show as well. I've avoided 2 blocks, which I'm proud of.
I'm gonna go kind of a wild card for mine, but I really like her, and that's Marlena, the Olympian.
You do like
that's a good
yes. I like that. I like that. She's got a great personality. Obviously, beautiful woman.
She hasn't got a lot of screen time, but I see could go somewhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hell yeah. And like, she's obviously, and she's absolutely gorgeous. It's not a bad thing at all. But she is a muscular woman. So perhaps a man of my lean stature might be, not me personally, because I would never think like this, but some guys might be like, oh, I don't want a woman who's stronger than me. Well, Clayton happens to have giantism, so it seems like it might be an appropriate fit.
Yeah,
I don't hate that pick. Coop, who you thinking?
I have between 2 people right now. I'm gonna go with, and I usually like to pick people that I genuinely like and kind of can get behind.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm gonna do that in this case. I'm gonna go with Gabby, who is the ICU nurse.
Yeah.
I don't hate the pick. I simply have no idea who that is.
The girl who's building the house with.
I got the page up now. Oh, Cassidy. That is a very good pick. I think Clayton.
I don't know how much that's it. I don't know how much I like her. She's a little. I don't know.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, but I think Clayton really likes her. I feel like he's like kind of what Clayton's looking for. Man, just that kind of personality. So that's who I'm going to lock in.
You know what? I think. That's a value pick.
I think that's a good
That is a value pick.
Thank you.
For this deep in the draft,
I like it better than my 4th pick. I'm gonna be honest. I like Eliza.
Who is your 4th pick?
Eliza.
I
don't mind it as a as a sleeper, but strong picks all around. I think those are ones that are gonna go very, very far. I think the one that we missed out on, Sarah. I think that's
she was on my list, but I didn't want to go there, I just didn't want to.
Yeah, she's not Yeah, I just don't know. It just didn't catch me as much as like Eliza's energy. I was like, oh, this girl came and brought it. But we'll see. We haven't hit the rose ceremony yet. Some of these girls might be gone by like the midway through next episode. They might not even make it to the end by the time we're recording this. But that's okay, guys. Thank you. Oh, no.
Whoa.
We got roses and thorns. What the heck am I doing? What am I doing? All right, let's kick it off with producer Gary. Let's start off negative, end on a positive. What is your thorn for this episode?
It's actually pretty tough because I did enjoy the episode a lot.
A lot of people are saying it's maybe the greatest of all time. Might be.
A lot of people are saying that. A lot of people being you and you alone. I don't think anyone else.
Well, a lot of people are saying it might be.
A lot of people are saying it might be. You're right. But for my thorn, I'm gonna have to go with. I want to say I'm gonna say Susie's date. I think it was great, but I think she kind of held back. I think she was like a little too nervous. I think. She kind of. She might have hurt herself more than she helped herself.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not looking good for me. Seeing who I just picked.
You had to. That was the only right pick. She was the consensus number one overall, I think.
She was, yeah.
She definitely was, yeah.
All right, Coop, what you got? What are you snipping?
I'm going to snip. We alluded to this earlier in the podcast, actually. Clayton's fits.
Yes.
They're
Man's got no swagger.
No swagger. During the one-on-one date with Susie, God rest her soul, because this date put her in a coffin, because he came out in this like weird like Nike dry fleece tech full zip up hoodie, and she had a dress on. Like, what are you doing, buddy?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
How disrespectful can you be?
He's ready for a Peloton class. He's ready for Adrian Williams to blast those glutes.
Like, you just know he has his like Seahawks jersey on underneath.
Just in case
they might call me up anytime.
Ball breaks out. Yeah. Yeah, just in case he gets the call.
Yeah, like you said earlier,
with COVID, you never know.
With the hoodie and blazer, which is a fine look.
Yeah.
Not for him.
Depending on who you are.
Yeah.
Exactly. Not you. Yeah, okay,
Not
that's
you.
a good one. You know what? I can't believe we haven't covered yet. I'm gonna go with, you know what? Just keep it nice and simple. I love them as villains, but I gotta snip Cassidy and Shanae. Snip them both. Snip. Get out of here.
Yep.
That's good.
Not enough.
That's fair.
Let's dive into some positives though, because look,
okay.
All right, let's start with you, Gary.
Yeah,
you sounded taxed.
Well, because the way you said it was, we haven't touched on it yet, is because I was saving them for my rose. I really enjoyed the Cassidy,
totally,
Shanae vibe. It was good TV.
Yeah, that's totally
I hate
fair.
them as people, but I love them on the show.
Of course, it just felt right for someone to snip them, but I think that's a valid. It was great podcast fodder.
Yeah,
Coop, what you got?
Mine's obviously going to Jesse Palmer, who I wasn't here to give a shout out to last week.
Jay Palms, you know what? Fantastic
host. He just has that soft spokenness, kind of like Chris Harrison also had, but it's just a very calming, kind of reassuring. He's a host.
He's a host.
He's
really
got the
is.
host DNA. Yeah. He's very honestly, clearly been on TV for a long time.
After watching the first episode, I could tell you within 5 minutes this guy should be the host from now on.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, what's so funny, Coop? I don't know if you know this, but I didn't know it until I was checking Twitter last week. Apparently, for years and years and years, he like vehemently tried to distance himself from being the Bachelor. Like he really wanted to leave that in his past and wanted people to just think of him as like, hey, I'm the host of Monday Morning Quarterback. Like I'm a TV personality. That's not a part of my origin story. But me and Gary said, like, money talks. Nothing deals old wounds like a bunch of money. So we're happy to have him back. He's a great host. Great pick. I also had down Shanae's meltdown, Gary. I thought that was a great one, but I'll go with instead. Just hit. You know what? We were being a little hard on her earlier. I'm giving it to Hillary Duff. I'm giving it, like, come on. She was enthusiastic. She's a fan of the show. Her filmography is vastly underrated. Shout out to Olivia Burke from Gossip Girl, total legend. Shout out to Lizzie McGuire. Shout out to the many other projects she's probably been a part of over the years. Whatever those might be. Let us know in the comments section what else Hillary Duff has done. But I thought she crushed it. She was charming. She knew the show.
She came with a lot of energy, which is great.
She even did a confessional, which was cool.
Yeah.
We rarely get a confessional. Yes, I think that's how you know that she's a real fan of the program.
Yeah.
Yeah. So shout out and maybe one more to Serene, because I'm rooting for her. I need her to go far. I don't think she's got it this year. I think she's maybe a bit too much of an adult. A bit too grown up. Our boy Clayton, but
that happens.
I think he may have a bit of that Peter Weber DNA. But we'll see. Guys, rate, review, subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in, Coop. Oh, it is great to have you back. Full squad.
It's great to be back.
So join us next time. It is going to be a silly goose time on the stream next week. It's going to be fun. I can already tell.
2 weeks.
Join us.
Right?
Give us your 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Right.
Yes. Break next week. No stream. So don't tune in again because we will not be there. But the Weekend Bachelor is back. We will also be back as well. Rate, review, subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in. And producer Gary, remember.
I'm just gonna assume what you said there. Remember, a leopard never flies away.
Thank you and peace.
Whole outro is a
Did I
blur.
freeze it right at